Hey, You-est You listener, it's Julie. You are joining me today for my solo episode, just you and me to hang here together. And I just want to share, I just hope that these conversations have really been helping you to expand your own awareness, to tune into your own inner gifts, to align with your higher self, your truth, your what I call your You-est You. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been hanging with me this past year, the last couple years, we're just about to celebrate 5 years of this podcast. I just want to thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of this family, this community. I really do believe I have this greater dream that as you and I, as we begin to really trust and honor and take inspired action that is in sync with your higher guidance, with your You-est You, that really can create the change that we're looking to see in this world. So it is from my heart to yours. I'm so honored to be here with you, and I'm so excited for today's episode. I'm going to be talking today all about the tools and the things that have helped me to be my meest me. One of the biggest gifts in my life has been the learning the art, the skill, the modality of coaching. My whole life was changed because of a coach I worked with about 15 years ago, and so much so that I ended up going back to school, getting a master's degree in coaching with a health and wellness slant, and leaving my day job as a single parent, as a single mom. This is about almost 10 years ago, to start my own business to do this work. This has transformed my life. So I'm going to talk about what I have coined as the 6 easy steps, the sacred steps to becoming a coach. And I want to share this is going to be the first of a 4-part series that is all about the power of tapping into your You-est You. And for me, coaching has been one of the most powerful ways to do that. So I have conversations coming up with some of my students and clients and people that have just changed their life that are going to share some of the tools and tips and practices that have helped them. And so that is my aim. That is my intention. My goal is that you're going to hopefully take something from each of these episodes, hopefully from every single conversation, but that this will give you some more ways to really hear, see, feel, and connect with your best self, your intuition, your inner wisdom. So I do think of my meest me, your You-est You, as really being that most genuine, authentic aspect of you. And I believe that is connected to a greater source, to what I think of as your higher self. Our intuition is also connected to that as well. So again, take what you like, leave the rest. My hope is that you will really take away today some great tools and ways that you can begin to maybe shift a little bit in this new year, really to, at any time of the year, to really learn how to access the gold within you. That's actually what coaching is about. And whether you've been coached, whether you are a coach, I know many of you are, some of you are looking to become a coach, maybe you've never even worked with a coach. The truth is this work, to me, is really synonymous with the work of healers, of ministry, of, anyone who is helping you to be your best self. Counselors do that. It's a little bit different modality, but there's a similar thread. And so I really have felt and found this work to be healing on many levels. When I worked with my coach years ago, I was going through a dark night of the soul, literally, like woke up in the middle of the night and had sort of a crisis of like, where am I? Who am I? What am I doing in my life? And I worked with someone who really helped me learn to listen, to trust myself, to ask powerful questions, to ask questions that got me to think differently. I'll talk about that in a minute, of those 6 steps that are so helpful that I hope you can take and use in your own life. And so by doing that work, that allowed me to crack open to really start to see who I am without all the stories, without all of the old, I was going to say the stories and the beliefs that really were not even true necessarily. They were stories that I had told over and over again that felt true, but that really weren't. And so it allowed me to really see myself and hopefully the goal is to see yourself void of those stories that don't serve you, of those beliefs that don't serve you, because the truth is we are all, in my humble opinion, individuated expressions of the divine. We are meant to express our gifts, our talents. We're meant to receive greater abundance and light and joy. The way to do that, though, is to be connected to your You-est You, to be connected to yourself. I did years of self-abandonment, abandoning, just doing anything not to be with my feelings or myself. And while that has been, in a way, one of the gifts that's come out of it is the ability to really, be an empath and empathically listen and understand others, I've spent so much time, so many years still practicing it, making sure that I'm coming home to myself. And that is why I wrote Get a PhD in You. That is why I got into coaching. And so I'm hoping today is going to help you. So I'm going to just do the high level because, of course, I can't go through all of these 6 steps in great detail, but I'm going to give you the high level and hopefully some tips that will help you. If at any time, you're interested to learn more and you would like to go deeper, I do have an amazing 4-month coach certification program. It's equally as much a personal development program. I've had over 70 students from all over the globe go through it. So I will share with you about that at the end of this, and would be delighted to chat if you're interested. But let's get started. I want to share with you these 6 steps, and they actually come from what I call my sacred coach approach. This is what I teach in my premier coaching certification. I, really use these tools, these steps. I use them in my own life. I use them with my children. I use them with my coaching clients. And I'm going to just invite you to listen, take note, and maybe there's one that really speaks to you. I'm hoping that these tools are really going to give you more of a foundation and way to access your inner wisdom as well as that of others. And of course, if you want to go deeper, you want to learn to become a coach, you think you're just interested to learn more, even if you don't want to become a coach but want to use these tools, come find me. I'll send all the information I'll share it at the end. So, all right, we're going to get started. So this sacred coach approach that I teach, six really easy steps. The first thing, and I want you to think about using these first, most importantly, with you, my friend. The first thing is sacred space. Sacred space. There is also another component around aiming the focus. I'll explain to you what that is. But the main component, the first step is sacred space. So it does follow the acronym SACRED. That is my proprietary coach approach framework, but I'm going to teach it to you now. So sacred space. Here's what I want you to look at. How can you create sacred space with yourself? Is your time being honored in a sacred way? Are you creating sacred space for yourself when you are, as you're waking up, as you're starting your day, as you are, having emotions that I know in the past, I would just do anything not to feel them. Today, I allow myself to feel them. I cry, I get upset. I allow that sacred space for myself. Not always, but try to. Can you give yourself that grace, that sacred space and grace with your emotions? When you're sitting down to eat a meal, right? With your energy. So the first step, and this is something I teach in great depth, how to do this, especially when you're holding that sacred space for somebody else. But we're talking today, starting with yourself. So sacred space. Now, aiming the focus, that is about when you are working with somebody that you are coaching or in that kind of setting. We always want to get into what is it that you are going to be looking at discussing. So for yourself, aiming the focus could be, what is it that I want to honor in myself today? What is it that I want to elevate in myself today? So sacred space and aiming the focus, getting clear. One focus per day. What is it that I want to focus on in me? That is the first step. Okay, number 2 of this sacred coach approach is active listening. Active listening is very, very different than how most of us are taught and how most of us are actually listening to ourselves and to others, right? So active listening means you are listening from a place of energy, intention. There's an active component to it. So yes, I go into detail and I explain and I share and I teach how to do this with others. But starting with yourself, and of course you can do this with your children, your partner, your spouse, your colleagues. Start with you. How are you listening to yourself or not? Right? So just tuning in. Now, meditation is a great practice to get more present. And I would say, using different mindfulness modalities can help you get more present. But are you actively listening? Are you listening when you feel, envious, jealous, overwhelmed, right? Frustrated, excited? Are you paying attention? So active listening, that is the second step. All right, the third step is conscious communication. That is the C out of the sacred coach approach. So C, conscious communication. Well, the word conscious gives it away. So I want you to really sit with, and you might even just do a little inventory. Take a day and notice, are you actually coming from a place of consciousness, being aware, being, really, really in tune? Or are you responding from stories, from beliefs? Are you responding in a way that's reactive, right? We know that when we're reactive, we don't typically wait between the stimulus and the response. It's something happens and you react. Conscious communication means there's a moment of pause. There's a moment of really, really getting still and waiting a moment, taking a beat before you respond, before you act. So conscious communication, again, learning how to be a coach when I teach it, that can go into so much more, using metaphors, analogies. There's a lot more to it, other tools. But I think the thing to take away right now is if you are taking this to how to use it for yourself, are you being conscious and awake and aware with yourself? And if you want to take it to the next level around others, are you really present? Are you really present? Are you really here now as I'm speaking? All right, my friend, here's a little test. Are you looking on your phone? Are you looking at your texts? Are you distracted, right? So to be in that conscious communication, it means being here now. It means being awake and aware. And it's okay if you are. It's just good to notice. I've been there too. Just, I get it. I'm with you. I feel you. All right, we're moving on to the fourth step. The fourth step is R. For R is reflect. So this is a beautiful skill that you can learn and go into more depth, of course, in the program. But right now, you can start to learn how to do this with yourself and with others. So what you could do if, let's say, you are journaling. I'm a big fan of journaling, especially in the morning. I do a lot of what I call soul journaling, intuitive journaling. I ask myself, I ask the divine, my higher self, hey, what's in my highest good today? Right? And so you write something out and you might reflect it back on the paper. You might reflect it back, like what you are taking away from that writing, from whatever came up in your journaling, and then write down what the essence, the highest kind of the takeaways are from what you heard. This also works with other people, right? Reflecting back, oh, I heard you said this. It's a great way to make sure you're really on the same page, that you're in sync, that you're in tune, that you really did hear the other person. Oftentimes as human beings, we're hearing from the lens of, past stories about others and about ourselves from the past. We often are really not being there, listening in the moment, reflecting from the present. So again, all of what I am talking about today is under the umbrella of becoming more aware, more mindful, more in tune. All of these steps, by the way, and what I teach and what I'm giving you today will help you to connect more deeply to your Youest You, your inner wisdom, your intuition. Remember, if you heard my interview with Sonia Choquette, I'll just remind you, intuition means inner teacher. This is the thing, and this is why I love coaching so much, is because it is all about not me being the expert and giving you advice and telling you what to do. No, it is about helping you to honor, to feel, to see, to hear, to know your inner wisdom, your inner teacher, and to learn how to trust that and be able to take actions according to your own inner guidance. It's really powerful. And when you learn to do that, the whole world changes. I'm telling you now. So that reflection, you could practice reflecting with yourself if you're journaling, or if you're feeling something, just repeat it back. What are you really reflected back? Or you can use the skill that you're learning, or the art of reflection with others. All right, I'm pausing just for a minute. I promise. I just want to let you know, in case you weren't aware, that I am just opening the doors now to my 9th cohort of the Life Designer Coach Academy. It's my premier coaching certification program. I have had students from all over the globe, lawyers, teachers, therapists, healers, single moms, coaches who want to refine their skills. I've had many, many coaches come through it, because what I'm going to do is infuse all of the learning I've had getting a master's degree in health and wellness coaching, becoming a certified exchange facilitator, all of my healing background with heart math and other mindfulness practices. And I weave in the positive psychology and the intuitive practices and the mind-body science. And I will teach you my proprietary sacred coach approach, as well as the tools, the practices, the techniques that I've been using over a decade, not just with myself, but with hundreds of clients and leaders from all over the globe. So if you would like to truly learn how to be your Youest You and to help other amazing individuals become empowered to be their Youest You, I really encourage you to look into this program. Even if you're not sure that you want to be a coach, or you are one and you want to refine those skills, I'm telling you, this is a powerful personal growth program. You will see so many of my graduates' thoughts and testimonials and responses if you go to juliereisler.com/certification. Again, juliereisler.com/certification. We'll have the link below. If you have any questions, let me know, but I would be honored to have you in this next cohort and to help you truly actualize your Youest You and to help others around the world to do the same. This is how we shift consciousness, my friend. Okay, back to the podcast. All right, E in the sacred, the 6 easy steps. The E is one of my favorites. It's engage with powerful questions. So we're going to focus for a minute on the power of powerful questions. So one thing just to share and just to level set in case you don't know this, our brain is a serial processor. So number one, it only can really focus on one thing at a time. So if you are a champion multitasker, like I honestly love being productive. It's one of my vices. I'm working on trying to be less productive because that can cause other issues. But if you love to multitask and do multiple things, the truth is your brain actually can't really do that. We really can't do 2 things at 100%. We really only can focus on one thing at 100%. So that is good news, because when you start to focus on something, perhaps that is having you look at a situation in a new way, you're going to get new answers. And so to add to the serial processor aspect of your brain, when you ask a question and when you learn how to ask really powerful, open-ended, life-giving, generative, appreciative questions, what happens is your brain begins to look for answers. The minute you ask a question, it begins to look for answers. It's set up that way. It's just the way we're designed. So if you start asking better, more incredibly potent questions, you're going to start getting answers you never knew before. And this is a process used for those that are into innovative, thinking. And if you're, an innovator or designing something new, or if you've been part of a team or in any kind of leadership group, oftentimes what you'll do is you'll just throw really out there questions against the wall and you'll answer them and together. And then that's where you can ideate and come up with amazing, totally new ideas. So asking powerful questions is really, really important, and it can totally shift your brain. It can shift what you're looking for, what you're thinking of, and your perspective. So I want to share a couple of my favorite questions. This, again, is its own course. I go into this in depth, but I do want to share some of the questions you can use now that really can help you to connect to your Youest You. So here are some of my 3 top favorite questions. I love asking, the first thing I like to ask myself is, or someone else, in a conversation is, what is the most loving thing that I can do here? What is the most loving thing I can do? So that question is open-ended, but the focus, the whole point of it is to focus on being loving, more loving to yourself, more compassionate. So that's the first one. The second question is, when you are in a struggle or a challenging moment, or you just feel like things are not working out, or maybe, I don't know, maybe you lost your job, or you were in a recent breakup, or you've had a health crisis, or something is going on. And I know because I've been there, I've been there where there are challenges or health situation or relationship issues, or a client didn't work out the way I thought it would, whatever it is, you want to ask yourself, how might this be happening? Or how might this be happening for my highest good? How might this be happening for your highest good? And the follow-up third question to that would be, what is the biggest learning and gift here? So I want you to notice as you hear those questions probably are making you feel more expansive. If we looked at your energy, literally like your energy, you're leaning in, leaning away, the way that you're feeling, these questions are heart openers. They help us to open our heart, to open our heart chakra, to open our throat chakra, to open ourselves, our energetic, our body is so wise. So when you ask questions like this is why I believe coaching in general, but especially this modality, this appreciative inquiry, this asking questions that are appreciative in nature, is so healing. It's been so healing in my life, right? When I was trying to I've had this happen over and over again. When I wanted to start my own business and I was single mom, I was making a decent salary. I had, it was cushy. I got free lattes and salads. I used to work for Panera. So, lots of like yummy food. That's a whole other story as a recovering food addict. However, lots of like great perks, bonuses. I liked everybody. I was getting, paid decent pay. And I kept hearing my higher self, my inner wisdom say, Julie, it's time to go out there to do what you love. Like you've got to, you just finished your program in coaching. People want to work with you. You've got to do that. And I kept asking myself, like, if I don't do that, how am I going to feel in 5 years and 10 years? If I got to the end of my life and I had not taken, that leap, how would I feel? So I started asking these powerful, open-ended questions. And I realized it wasn't even an option anymore. It wasn't an option to just have my career be fine and good. I wanted to be at a whole other level. I interviewed Gay Hendricks a couple months ago, and we talked about, there's the zone of excellence and the zone of genius. I probably was in my excellence, I would say. I wanted to be in my genius. I wanted to be in my zone of great passion. Often your zone of genius is where you are most energetic and passionate. So questions, powerful questions, completely unlocks potentiality, possibility, and things you may not even realize, gifts that are literally lying dormant within you. So again, I go way more into detail in my program. However, I hope even those questions, you can take them and start applying them now. What is the most loving thing I can do here? That changed my life. How is this happening for my highest good? And what is the greatest learning here? And I ended my first marriage, and that was a really challenging time and very sad. And, it just obviously lots of emotions. For me, one of the most healing things was to really look at, okay, what were the gifts of that marriage and relationship, and what is the learning there and now? Right? It's just helped with a lot of healing. So I hope those questions help you. That is the E in the sacred coach approach. Again, these 6 steps that hopefully will help you to really access your Youest You. And then lastly, I love this one because without this one, it's just theory. So the last is D, and that stands for designing actions. Designing actions. And I actually added an accountability with there as well. So designing actions. So far we've gone over the S, which is sacred space. A is active listening. C is conscious communication. R is reflect. E is engage with powerful questions. And D is designing actions. Now, of course, in coaching, when you're working with somebody, this is where it gets different than counseling, because often in counseling, there aren't action items to take. In coaching, I think one of the most powerful aspects is that you do design actions to take, and that gives you that what's happening between the sessions. That's giving you a a flight plan for what you're going to be doing based on what's important to you. So designing actions can also be for you right now something that is really important to you, where you are willing to take one little baby step forward towards your dreams, towards your goals. So that designing action, you could apply that right now. Maybe you want to start a podcast. And if you do, let me know, right? I totally think podcasts are one of the best ways to connect with humanity and make a change. So maybe you want to start a podcast. Maybe you want to write a book. Maybe you want to start a blog. Maybe you are ready to, I don't know, just, create a course, go back to school. Maybe you realize it's time you want to have a baby, or you want to start your second act in life, whatever it is. Those big, beautiful goals typically don't happen without some action. Now, I do recommend working with a coach, and I'm not just saying that like I always have my own coach. Really, I do recommend working with a coach who can help you, because there is something about having someone who can help keep that both for accountability, but help you to really stay in alignment with your greatest dreams, your goals, your plan, designing those actions and helping you to really see the progress and to have fulfillment in your goal. However, wherever you are right now, whether you are working with someone or not, you can do this today. Think about what is really most important to you. What is an intention or a goal for this year? For maybe even just something you'd like to do in this quarter, this month. And then what I'm going to invite you to do is to create one baby step action. So if you want to write a book, and I can tell you from experience, having done this, you got to break it down, chunk it down. Maybe your one step, maybe it's to get a journal to write in. Maybe it's to schedule 15 minutes every morning when you're going to write. Something small. You don't want to take on an action step that is too big, because it becomes overwhelming, and the chances of not doing it can then, of course, are far greater. So baby steps, little bite-sized action. And what is it for you? And I'd love to know what your bigger dream and goal is, and what is that one to two little baby actions? What are those actions that you're going to design and start taking? And then, of course, I do go more into this, but I'll tell you, you need to make sure those action items are very specific, and that you can see whether you're doing them or not. So if you just say, I'm going to eat healthier, right? Like I want to be my healthiest this year. Okay, I want to eat healthier. What does that mean? So you got to get really clear. Maybe it's, I'm going to start with 80 ounces of water. I'm going to drink 80 ounces of water every day and track that. And I'm going to take sugar out of my diet Monday through Friday, right? That's getting clear. So when you're creating those action items for yourself or around your goals, you want to just make sure that you're clear about them. All right, my friend, I really hope that this has been helpful. These are the core steps that I teach in becoming a coach. You can start to use them today in your life, whether or not you want to become a coach or not. Or maybe you are a coach and you want to refine those skills. Hopefully these will help you. And I would love to hear how they're helping you to access your Youest You. And of course, if any of this piques your interest, if you feel a calling or a nudge or a leaning in to learn more about the sacred coach approach and a whole other set of tools that I teach, including how to access and trust your intuition, I get into heart intelligence. I also teach a lot of other mind-body science practices, energy practices. Please check out my Life Designer Coach Academy program. I am going to be opening the doors really soon to my next cohort. We'd love to have you there. We've had students from all over the world. It's a really special program, and I would be honored. And so if that's of interest, of course, you can check that out. You can go to juliereisler.com/certification. We'll also have the links in the show notes and below. And I just want to say, my hope and prayer is that there are tools in this conversation, in this episode, that will help you to really get clear, to tune in more deeply to yourself, to start trusting your intuition, your inner wisdom. They're going to help you to take small actions towards your greater dreams and goals. I really do believe that what lies dormant within you, your gifts, your genius, my friend, Like that is needed in this world right now. It really is. So whether you get into the coaching or not, to me, my hope is that you really take something from today and start to apply it to yourself with love, with compassion, with curiosity, and to really maximize your potentiality. Just like, you see the acorn in the fall, and it's like, holy moly, that's the potentiality of an oak tree. We're all like that. You have the same thing within you. And that is my greatest heart's desire, is to help you and myself to be really tuned in and aligned with your highest potential, with your authenticity, with your gifts, with your genius. I know, because I've seen it in my own life, and I've seen it with so many other people and the clients I've worked with, and so many others, that when you learn to trust and follow your own inner guidance, not what someone else is telling you, but what's within you, that is when everything changes. And your life can literally be beyond your wildest imagination, and can create a ripple effect of greater peace, greater joy, greater love, and greater service to others. So my prayer is that this helps you to be more of your Youest You. My friend, thank you as always. I love being here with you. Thank you for your heart, your energy, and of course, if you have any questions, anything that resonates or doesn't, you can always connect, and you know where to find me. Lots of love.